God tier, Gan. At the very top of the food chain, actually above the food chain, the plate and the kitchen, sits Gan, the closest thing Stephen King's universe has to a full-on divine creator. Gan didn't just build the Dark Tower, Gan is the Dark Tower. It's the architect of the multiverse, the engine running reality, and the invisible hand making sure everything doesn't collapse like a badly stacked Jenga tower. Every monster you've ever met, every world you've ever read about, every cosmic threat that seems unstoppable, all of them exist because Gan allows them to. Think about it this way. The Crimson King wants to destroy the Dark Tower. Pennywise feeds on fear across dimensions. Randall Flagg manipulates entire civilizations. But Gan? Gan set up the rules that let all of them exist in the first place. In our world, Gan manifests as a single rose growing in a vacant lot in New York City. Look at it long enough, and you can see infinity spiraling in its petals. Every world, every timeline, every possibility blooming from one flower. Protect the rose, and you protect everything. Destroy it, and reality unravels like a sweater caught on a nail. The Prim, the other. Before creation, before the beams, before the tower, there was the Prim, a bubbling, chaotic stew of pure, unshaped existence. Think of it like the universe's raw dough, except it's alive, formless, and so ancient that ancient is too young a word. Imagine standing at the edge of a cosmic ocean that contains every nightmare, every possibility, every broken law of physics, all swirling together in one infinite mess. That's the Prim. It's not evil. It's pre-evil. The primordial soup before morality even got invented. Demons, monsters, and reality-bending horrors? They're all just drops of water that splashed out of the Prim when Gan started building. As the Dark Tower series progresses, we learn the Prim is receding, which sounds good until you realize that means reality is getting thinner, weaker, and more fragile. The walls between worlds start cracking. Monsters slip through easier. Magic stops working right. It's like the foundation of a house slowly rotting away. Everything still stands, but for how long? And then there's the other. Gan carved the universe out of the Prim, using the other, its equal and opposite force, as the balancing weight that keeps reality from collapsing back into chaos. The other has no morality, no consciousness, no rules. It's not evil, not good. It's simply everything that came before everything. Compared to entities on this level, even Pennywise is basically a sparkly dust bunny. IT thinks it's a big deal, because it can shapeshift and eat fear. The Prim contains infinite versions of IT that never even got the chance to exist. Every monster in King's bibliography could get erased by a single ripple in the Prim, and the Prim wouldn't even notice. Maturin the Turtle. Maturin is the universe's oldest, calmest, and most reluctant guardian. A cosmic turtle so powerful, it literally threw up the universe into existence. Yes, the stars, planets, galaxies, and even your coffee maker all started as turtle barf. Somehow that's not even the weirdest part. Unlike Gan, Maturin doesn't meddle much. It drifts through the macroverse like a cosmic therapist, observing and mildly judging the horrors running wild. When the Losers Club calls for help during the ritual of Chud, they basically get, "Sorry kids, I'm retired. Also, I might be dead. Good luck." Classic Maturin, even half asleep or possibly deceased. Its existence alone is enough to tip the scales and give the losers the edge they need. Maturin rarely fights, but he doesn't have to. Just being around makes beings like IT shrink back. When IT screams about the old turtle being weak, that's pure fear talking. Creation without consumption, power without hunger, existence without purpose. IT can't understand it. It needs to feed. Maturin just is. And that's why Pennywise is terrified of this cosmic turtle. Ultra cosmic tier, the Crimson King. If pure malice could hold a corporate title, it would be the Crimson King. His goal is simple: bring down the Dark Tower, erase the beams that hold reality together, and plunge everything back into the Prim. The Crimson King isn't content with ruling one world or even one dimension. He wants to tear down the scaffolding of reality itself and remake existence in his image, which, spoiler alert, is just an endless void where he gets to be God. He spent countless centuries manipulating events across multiple worlds, corrupting gunslingers, spreading chaos, and working toward his endgame, standing atop the ruins of creation, the last thing left in an empty universe. He has armies, psychic powers, shape-shifting abilities, and a level of obsession that makes him basically the universe's most dangerous stalker. He commands the Crimson King's forces, including but not limited to an army of creatures, corrupted humans, and reality warpers, all bent on destroying the tower. He can possess people, drive them insane with a thought, and has enough raw power to physically wound reality itself. In the Dark Tower series, we see him throw explosive snitches at Roland from the balcony of the tower. Each one is powerful enough to erase a person from existence. And yet, he's not quite God tier. But he's powerful enough to bend worlds, manipulate timelines, and personally ruin your existence on a Tuesday. Here's the thing. He's working against the system, not running it. He's trying to break Gan's creation, which means he acknowledges something is above him. You can't destroy a god if you're already one. Todash, creatures. These things are the nightmares behind nightmares. Cosmic horrors born in the Todash darkness, the void between worlds. They don't follow logic. They don't follow physics. They just float around in the cosmic abyss, waiting for someone to accidentally stumble into their reality so they can make a snack out of you. Imagine the multiverse is a bunch of houses on a street. Todash darkness is the empty space between the houses. Not the yards, not the roads, but the nothing that shouldn't exist but does. It's the cosmic equivalent of a loading screen that somehow became sentient and hungry. When you travel between worlds incorrectly, without the proper doors, without a rose, without permission, you slip into Todash space. And that's when the creatures notice you. Some are so massive they span entire dimensions. Others look like giant bugs with too many mouths, and all of them make you instantly regret being alive. There are things with lamprey mouths bigger than planets. Things that exist in 17 dimensions simultaneously. Things that look like geometric shapes, having a nervous breakdown. The truly terrifying part? King barely describes them. He gives you just enough detail to know they're wrong. Too many angles, sounds that don't make sense, and colors that hurt to perceive. They're not evil, they're simply indifferent. Like sharks drifting in an endless ocean. The bells are the worst part. They're not pretty little chimes. They're deep, resonant, wrong-sounding bells that vibrate in your bones. Hear them once and you might escape. Hear them twice and you're already dead. Your body just hasn't figured it out yet. High supernatural tier. It, the Deadlights. Everyone knows Pennywise. But the clown is just a costume. The real entity is the Deadlights. An extra-dimensional being so powerful that just seeing its true form fries the human brain like a mosquito in a bug zapper. Pennywise is IT's way of dumbing itself down to interact with humans. It's like a quantum physicist trying to explain particle physics to a goldfish. So instead, they just wear a funny hat and make balloon animals. The clown isn't a disguise. It's a translation. A way for three-dimensional humans to perceive something that exists across multiple realities simultaneously. The Deadlights are swirling orange lights from outside our reality. From the macroverse where the rules are different, and alive means something our brains can't comprehend. Look directly at them, and your consciousness just stops. It's not death. Death would be merciful. It's more like your mind gets stuck in an infinite loop of understanding. Something it was never built to understand. It crashed into Earth during prehistoric times, probably around when the dinosaurs were still figuring out their whole situation. It's been feeding ever since, waking up every 27 years to gorge itself on terror before going back to sleep. But even with all that nightmare fuel, IT is still only mid-cosmic compared to beings like Gan or the Crimson King. The reality is that IT got beaten by 7 kids with imagination and a slingshot. Yeah, they had help from Maturin and Gon, but still, mortal children defeated it. Twice. The Crimson King wouldn't have that problem. Gon certainly wouldn't. IT is the biggest fish in Derry's pond, but it's still just a fish. Tak. Tak is pure chaos. A parasitic, reality-warping entity that possesses humans, animals, and sometimes entire towns. Unlike Flagg, it doesn't plan or scheme. It's impulsive, destructive, and unpredictable, warping everything it touches into a twisted reflection of itself. What makes Tak unique is its presence in 2 parallel novels, Desperation and The Regulators, where the same character names appear in different realities, but Tak is the connecting thread. In Desperation, Tak emerges from a Nevada mine, jumping from a local cop to animals and humans, leaving a trail of corpses and madness. It can control multiple creatures at once, turning the desert into a hunting ground of pure chaos. In The Regulators, Tak hijacks the imagination of a child, Seth Garin, making his fantasies like toy trucks shooting bullets, cowboys killing neighbors, all come violently to life. This version is almost playful in a psychotic, reality-breaking way. It doesn't just kill, it experiments with the limits of imagination. Across both universes, Tak can control minds, create illusions, rot bodies, and warp reality with ease. It isn't trying to conquer the world, it just wants to break things until something stops it. And despite all this power, Tak is still bound to mortal hosts. In The Regulators, a laxative can weaken it. It's terrifying and absurd because apparently, one tummy ache can bring this guy down. Randall Flagg. Randall Flagg is Stephen King's ultimate recurring villain, the chaos agent who simply refuses to stay dead. He's a shape-shifting sorcerer, a smooth-talking manipulator, and a professional troublemaker who drifts between worlds wearing new faces like outfits. Sometimes he's Walter O'Dim, sometimes the Man in Black, sometimes Martin Broadcloak or Richard Fannin. Whatever name he uses, he always shows up right before everything goes straight to hell. Across King's universe, Flagg plays every role imaginable. Cult leader, political puppeteer, demonic wanderer, apocalypse starter. In The Stand, he rebuilds society in Las Vegas as a nuclear-powered tyrant. In The Dark Tower, he serves the Crimson King while running his own secret schemes. In Eyes of the Dragon, he tanks an entire kingdom just because he's bored. Causing mayhem isn't a hobby. It's his full-time job. He isn't the strongest supernatural being out there, but he might be the most dangerous. He can read minds, cast illusions, kill with a gesture, and he hasn't aged in thousands of years. But his true weapon is manipulation. Flagg rarely fights directly. He whispers, twists, nudges, and lets people destroy themselves. He's the devil on your shoulder who sounds like your best friend. Flagg gets killed off repeatedly, but he always returns, slipping into a new role, a new world, a new disaster. He's not the biggest monster in King's multiverse, just the one who never stops showing up to ruin everything. Mid-level tier, the Overlook Hotel entities. The Overlook isn't just haunted, it's alive. The spirits inside it feed on human trauma, addiction, fear, and suffering like a bottomless buffet. They can twist your memories, possess your body, or lure you into a death trap with a friendly smile. Some ghosts are echoes of the past, others are straight-up demons, and all of them work together to break people down until there's nothing left. They aren't cosmic, but within their walls, they're practically gods. You've got the woman in room 237, rotting and beautiful and wrong. You've got Horace Derwent and his dog-masked party guests. You've got Lloyd the bartender, forever serving drinks that taste like damnation. And then there's the Overlook itself, the building as an entity, the structure that's been soaking up violence and madness since it was built on cursed ground. The Overlook doesn't chase you down a hallway. It studies you. It learns your weaknesses, your addictions, your fears. It offers Jack Torrance exactly what he wants: validation, alcohol, power, and then slowly rewrites his brain until he's trying to murder his family with a roquet mallet. The hotel is patient. It's been standing for decades. It's not in a hurry. It'll wait for the perfect moment when you're weak, tired, and doubting yourself. That's when it strikes. That's when it whispers, "Wouldn't a drink help? Wouldn't it be easier to just give in?" The Overlook is terrifying, but it's also geographically limited. Leave the hotel, and its power evaporates. It can't follow you to Florida. It can't reach across dimensions. It's a localized predator that rules its domain absolutely, but has zero reach beyond its walls. Within the hotel, God tier. Outside, just a building with a bad history. Mist creatures. When a portal between worlds opens, the mist creatures pour through, and none are friendly. Acid-spitting spiders the size of dogs, tentacled leviathans bigger than buildings, winged monsters that shred mid-flight, and skyscraper-sized walking ecosystem. The mist isn't just fog. It's a dimensional tear, letting in creatures from a world where evolution went beautifully wrong. They're not invading, just existing in a new space, like sharks in a kiddie pool. The military's Arrowhead project accidentally punched through, and now the mist carries horrors that make pterodactyls look cuddly. They could wipe out humanity if unleashed, but they're confined to wherever the rift spits them out. Terrifying, yes. Reality-shattering? Only locally. Close the portal, and the threat stops. They're not malicious, just extremely good at eating anything that isn't fast enough. The creatures themselves range wildly in power. Some are just annoying bugs, others could level cities. But they're all bound by biology, however alien. They can be killed, burned, shot, or crushed. They're not bending reality or manipulating time. They're just really, really good at eating things that aren't fast enough. Kurt Barlow. Barlow is a classic vampire stripped of romance and glitter, pure Nosferatu terror. Bald, pale, unnaturally tall, with clawed fingers and piercing eyes, he dominates victims with sheer predatory will rather than charm. He can shapeshift, hypnotize, regenerate, and command an army of undead, turning Jerusalem's lot into his personal kingdom in weeks. Barlow's real danger is his patience and planning. He slowly integrates into a town, sending his familiar ahead, so by the time anyone notices, half the population is already turned. Not cosmic, but one of King's most dangerous grounded threats. He's mid-tier, vulnerable to fire, stakes, and sunlight, but terrifyingly efficient at being a vampire. Lower power tier, viral icons. Christine. Christine is a 1958 Plymouth Fury possessed by pure hatred, a jealous, murderous car that literally bends reality around her. From the assembly line, she was born to kill, and when Arnie Cunningham buys her, she doesn't just corrupt him, she rewrites him, turning him violent, obsessed, and possessive. Christine can regenerate from almost anything, heal from fire or crashes, and always finds her target. She's terrifying on Earth, stalking victims like a supernatural predator. But even with all that, she's still a car. She needs roads, can be destroyed eventually, and in a cosmic showdown, she's just a haunted machine. Carrie White. Carrie White's telekinesis is devastating, capable of leveling buildings, crushing people, and burning down half her town in a single rage-fueled night. At prom, she doesn't just take out her bullies. She locks the doors, crushes debris, unleashes fire hoses, and stops hearts, leaving a trail of destruction and triple-digit casualties. She's a human natural disaster with a crown of pig's blood. But Carrie isn't a villain. She's a victim pushed too far. Her powers are reactive, fueled by emotion, untrained and unstable. She doesn't plan or hunt, she just explodes. Very apt for a teenager. And as terrifying as that is, she's still limited by being human. Conventional weapons can stop her, and her abilities vanish without her emotional trigger. She's raw, tragic, and unstoppable only in short bursts. Cujo. Cujo is just a dog pushed past the breaking point by rabies. He turns into a relentless killing machine because he's sick, scared, and suffering. He's terrifying because he's real-world possible, but he's not supernatural. Before the rabies, Cujo was a good dog. He loved his family. He was gentle with kids. Then he got bit by a bat in a cave, and everything went wrong. The virus rewrites his brain, turning affection into aggression, playfulness into violence. He's not evil. He's dying and he's taking people with him. And there's no magic here, no cosmic horror, just a 200-pound Saint Bernard that's become a rabid killing machine. He's terrifying because it could happen. Your neighbor's dog could contract rabies. You could get trapped in a car on a hot day with a rabid animal trying to break through the glass. In a ranking of supernatural titans, Cujo is simply an animal pushed past its limits, not a cosmic threat. He's here because he's iconic, because he's scared a generation of readers. But in terms of actual power, he's just a sick dog. Shoot him, and he dies. Wait long enough, and the rabies kills him. There's no regeneration, no possession, no coming back. Children of the Corn. Under the influence of He Who Walks Behind the Rose, the kids of Gatlin become murderous, devoted, and eerily organized. They can absolutely overwhelm adults through sheer fanaticism. These kids killed every adult in town. They did it methodically, ritualistically, completely. Then they set up their own society based around worshipping a corn deity that demands blood sacrifice. They have laws, hierarchies, and execution rituals. It's Lord of the Flies meets the Wicker Man, set in Nebraska. The scariest part isn't that they're murderous, it's that they're organized. They have a system. They have rules. When you turn 19, you walk into the corn and don't come out. It's not chaos, it's a structure built around violence. But without their deity backing them, they're just a bunch of farm kids with sharp tools and zero supervision. Creepy? Always. Cosmic? Not at all. They can be shot, can be overpowered, can be reasoned with, sometimes. They're still just human kids. They don't have powers. They don't bend reality. They're the weapon, not the threat itself. The real danger is whatever's in the corn, and even that seems limited to one town in Nebraska. But remember, ranking power doesn't mean we've met every monster. We've only scratched the surface of King's nightmares. Some creatures hide between the worlds, some sleep in small towns, and some we haven't even opened the book on yet. So if you think He Who Walks Behind the Rose is spooky now, wait until you meet what's still growing deeper in Stephen King's universe. And speaking of nightmares, there's one entity in particular that deserves a closer look. Up next, every form Pennywise takes. Explained in 11 minutes. Let's dive even deeper into the mind of Stephen King.